Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judith Patterson, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas, and today we're going to make a card from the catalog. At least I hope that you're able to create along with me. So the card that I'm making today is from the celebration brochure. It can be found on page 7, and it's this one right here, with the little bug car from driving by. So during celebration, you can earn these these products. It's not just stamps, it's stamps, but also designer series paper for free with a qualifying purchase. And in the US, a qualifying purchase is $50 or $100 depending on which item you're wanting. And you can get more than one item. So say you spend $100 and you want two $50 items, go for it. So, and this one is free with a $50 purchase. It's a fun little set with several different cars and a few sentiments. So let me flip the camera around and we'll get started creating this card. Oh, got something on my paper there. Okay, so the card that we're making is just like you see it in the brochure. Again, it's this one here. I didn't make any changes on this at all. It is a note card, so it measures 3.5 by 5 inches, and on the end, and I'll show you the inside too, but I did make a standard 4.25 by 5.5 inch card and changed up some colors and things, and I'll show that to you at the end. So I'm going to start off by getting this 2.25 by 4 inch piece of Pool Party cardstock, and I want my Pool Party ink pad and my stamp. So I'm going to use this stamp. But right now, we don't need all these gifts on top. So I'm going to take just a sticky note, a Post-it, and cover those gifts up before I ink my stamp up. And then before I stamp with my stamp, I'm going to take that off and just set it to the side. And then I'm going to stamp my card at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to cover those up again. I want to make sure I get all the gifts, but I don't want to cover my car. And then I'm going to stamp the car at the top. Make sure to take that sticky note off every time. If you don't, you'll end up with a very messy blob on your page. So for a third time, we're going to cover that part up, and I'm going to turn the sticky note this time because it does get pretty wet with ink. So I'm just going to use my thumb to make sure there is room there. Ink that up, pull off that sticky note, and then this one is going to go down towards the bottom. And then for the card that goes here, I'm gonna grab the Memento Tuxedo Black ink and just a scrap of basic white cardstock. And since I'm going from light to dark, I'm not real worried. I did stamp off a little bit off the screen, but I'm not super worried about mixing that pale blue with this dark ink. Now, if I was going the other way around, I would for sure clean my stamp really well. All right, so I'm just going to stamp that on here. And then I used watercolor pencils to color this piece. So I'm going to start by coloring the car itself yellow. You'll see I'm not doing the best job of coloring. I'm just getting some color thrown down because I'm going to grab my blender pens in a minute and smooth this out. If you don't have blender pens or you just don't want to use them, then you can color a little neater than I'm doing if you'd like. So the colors I'm using are Basic Gray, Daffodil Delight, and Basic Black. For the windows, I'm going to use Bermuda Bay. I almost said pool party. I'm going to use Bermuda Bay, and I'm just going to go real lightly across the windows. I just want a hint of color there. And then for the gifts, I'm using Melon Mambo, Calypso Coral, and I think Pumpkin Pie. Pumpkin Pie is the third one. And like I said, I'm coloring just like they did on the card in the catalog. I'm trying to keep everything pretty close to the same on this one. But then I have an alternate to show you at the end. Okay, so I'm going to start with that Calypso Coral. And then Pumpkin Pie is going to be this one here. So this is the Melon Mambo. I am going to go back over some of these and make them a little darker. There we go. Okay, and now I'm going to use my blender pen, and I'm just going to start with this light blue. I'm going to do the gray. I forgot some of the gray. I'll have to go back. So when you're switching from dark colors to light colors, you definitely want to clean the ink off the tip of your blender pen, and the easiest way to do that is, like you saw, just rub it on a scrap piece of paper. There we go. There's our car. So now I would take my paper snips and just fussy cut around this car. Thankfully, I took time earlier to go ahead and do that, so you don't have to sit and watch me fussy cut. So now I'm going to take this car and some Stampin' Dimensionals, and you know what? I think I'm going to use some mini dimensionals. Not that one. I forgot. I used that one earlier. And then I put it back. I don't know what I was thinking. Goodness gracious. There we go. So this car is then going to go right inside that space. Right about there. Looks good. So it's raised up just a little bit. And then I also previously ran this piece of Coastal Cabana cardstock. I cut it 3 1/4 inch by 4 3/4 inches. And then I put it in this Hive 3D embossing folder. This thing is so cool, y'all. It's new. It's in the January to June 2022 mini catalog. So I used it to emboss this Coastal Cabana cardstock. And I'm going to go ahead and use my liquid glue to attach this piece to the embossed piece. Add just a little bit more glue right there. Just lining up those edges and pressing it down. And then I have a Coastal Cabana card base that is cut, it's 7 inches by 5 inches, and then I scored it at 3.5 inches. So I'm going to use that liquid glue again. You could also use Stampin' Seal, not steel, here, if you prefer that. And then I'm just going to center this up on the card front. And that's why I like the liquid glue. It was feeling pretty crooked to me, so I took some time to straighten that out. So now for the sentiment, I'm going to use the Aw Thanks, and I'm going to use the Coastal Cabana ink to stamp that. And this is just another scrap of Pool Party cardstock. I'm going to grab those paper snips again, cut off the end, and I'm just going to trim along the top and the bottom here, kind of straighten it up a little bit, and then I'm just going to cut it at an angle. Then I'll use those mini dimensionals again to attach this piece. So this is going to go right up here above the car. Then I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to use the Holiday Rhinestone Basic Jewels. This is Coastal Cabana. So I'm going to grab a big one and put it up here. Then I'm going to use a smaller one here. Whoops. And a smaller one right about here. And that is all it takes to make this cute little note card. Isn't that fun? I did go ahead and stamped the card and colored it in again, without the gifts this time because there's not a lot of room to write here. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on the inside. So this also measures 3¼ inches by 4 3/4 inches. Of course, you could color the inside card whatever you wanted to, but I always like to make it match. And if you want the gifts, you can go ahead and leave and add those on. I did have to clean my stamp before stamping this to make sure that I didn't get ink from those gifts on that spot. All right, so there is that. And then I decided to go ahead and make a full-size card. Like I said, this is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And I used the polished pink for this piece, and then this piece is Mango Melody. Not Mango Melody, it's Melon Mambo. So Melon Mambo here, polished pink here, and then I colored this part with Stampin' Blends instead of the pencils. And let's see, you can see it a little bit better. I used polished pink, Bermuda Bay, and Pumpkin Pie. And then this was stamped in polished pink also. And this stamp comes from Special Moments, which is another celebration set. So this one is all sentiments. So many sentiments. I love this set. This one is free with a $100 purchase in the US. Celebration goes through February, so you still have time to take part in that. If you need a brochure or if you have questions about how celebration works, then reach out to me and I'll be glad to answer any of your questions. If you want to shop, that link to my online store where you can shop 24/7 is in the description below. And if there is a card that you would like to see from one of Stampin' Up's current publications, then let me know and I will be happy to do my best to make a video for you on it. Or if you just want to know what products were used to make it, then I'll be happy to answer any of those types of questions or any other Stampin' Up questions that you have. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button below. Thanks so much. Have a happy weekend. Happy stamping!